Yo. What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up?
My brothers, how y'all doing? Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Guys, how was your week, man? Who want to set it off for us first?
Yo, the week was dope. I think my week was good. You know what I mean? Just chilling out with family and whatnot, enjoying it, getting ready for this Valentine's Day weekend, and just putting in a little quality time. Not really big to say, except just enjoying my time with family and just meeting new, I just want to say, goals and whatnot in my life. So
that's what's up.
Okay,
Roddy Rod.
Yo, just tired of this cold. Just tired of this snow. You know what I'm saying? I need to change the atmosphere. This COVID being in the house all the time. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting cabin fever. I don't know, but I need to get a change of atmosphere. But other than that, everything's good. I'm still blessed.
Yeah, man. Kelvin, how about you, brother? Oh, Kelvin, your mic is it muted?
From undisclosed locations.
I know. Maybe is the mic on this mic? How about the mic? And now on mute on computer. Well, Kelvin's figuring out.
Kelvin's figuring out.
Yeah. So I mean, my this week has been pretty good, man. My sister just came by. She just went back to Delaware a few minutes ago, and so and then it was and I had last night. I was telling you guys earlier, like we was behind the scenes, watching a couple of good movies. I watching the Fred Hammond movie. And then I watched the hip hop joint that me and Rob was talking about. What's the name of the joint? Hip hop uncovered, right?
Yeah, hip hop uncovered.
Yeah,
I definitely need to check it out. That's definitely
both of them are definitely some watches. Everybody must check out. Kelvin, Kelvin got a voice yet?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there we go. There you go, my bro. All right.
That was
Calvin, we didn't think you was gonna make your check this episode.
Let me say this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want it to be like I come off negative, right? But I couldn't get to the barber I've been going to. So the last 2 weeks, I've tried different barbers. And I've had a terrible experience. I've got to tell you guys about it. I went to a barbershop, and I know how it works now. The person that is not cutting anybody is not cutting somebody for a reason, because their chair's always open, because they're the only one that does the little kids. That's what they do. The little kids can't object when their parents are in a rush. And the guy... And I explained to him what I want, even though I have a Caesar, the guy still messed it up. I'm still recovering. I got stitches over here from the way he did me and stuff like that. So I just want to appeal to our people. I don't know why we cannot cut anymore. What happened? What happened to us as a people?
You just need to join the crew and accept it. Just go bold.
Let it go.
Let it go.
I don't have a head for that. You guys got the head for that.
You can say you got the head for it.
It's right there. We see it right there.
No, the back is the problem. The back, it's a remix in the back. That's the
problem. Oh man. So listen, guys, we just saw it today on the news, man. Trump just got acquitted, man. The impeachment trials. What are your thoughts on this, man? Anybody?
Man, y'all still paying attention? You know what I'm saying?
I think that we should be paying attention, because I always feel us as Black people, we need to pay attention to politics, because you need to be aware of the BS that is going on. You know what I'm saying? Trump beats another trial, second trial in the Senate. First one is a dream trial for a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Basically, if I was charged with a crime, I want that trial that Trump got for the first impeachment, because they weren't allowed to submit any evidence against him. That's a criminal's dream. You know what I'm saying? But only a rich, powerful white man can get away with that. Mm-hmm. In this trial, he beats it because they needed a third in order to convict him. And only, I think, maybe 7 senators that were Republican, they said, yeah, convict, and everybody else stood tall. But the reason why you have to pay attention is because they always talking this patriotic shit, right? About being a patriot, being loyal to the country, loving the country. You let a guy start a riot, right? Have all these people brainwashed, lying, storm the Capitol, kill a police officer. Both
right? The eyes out.
One officer was killed that day. One of the officers lost an eye.
Brain damage.
Brain damage. One officer was brain damaged. Another officer lost some fingers, right? And you know what? No outrage from the police unions. But when Black Lives Matter is marching,
very true.
Black Lives Matter is marching, oh, look at all of this violence, look at this, and look at that, and look at that. The police need to be unleashed and all that. The police unions didn't say a word because they endorsed Trump. But that goes to show you that patriotism is racism to the Republican Party. And that's what it's about. That's why you have to pay attention to this, because when somebody starts talking patriotic to you, you go, that's bullshit, because you should have been yelling and screaming for Trump to be convicted, because what he did was unpatriotic. But pay attention, like I said, pay attention that the law enforcement unions, the FOP, the PBAs, none of them came forward and said anything about this outrage. And they lost a police officer that day.
Yep.
Let somebody of brown skin had to kill the police officer. They want the electric chair. They want the death penalty. They want all this. But Trump can have blood on his hands, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah. So, and another thing, well, I don't want the media to let us forget that right now, 32 states, they really are trying to change the election process. So we got to stay, keep our eyes on what's going on. Now, this is right. We should have filed this impeachment, but we need to follow how will they change voting in 32 states, and I think 160 districts. We got to watch that coming up next, and we need to make more vocal about that. What's going on next? So, yeah. But since it's let's juice it up, since we know it's Lovers Weekend, right? Do you gentlemen have anything special going on, or you want to talk about anything, brothers? Do y'all get the same gifts? Because to me, Valentine's Day it's basically a day for women to brag at the water cooler what their man did for them.
Yeah, man. I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. I mean, like me and my wife, we went out to dinner yesterday, right? And because the Valentine's Day was weekend was booked, but it wasn't that I was taking her out just specifically for Valentine's Day. You know, we go out to dinner all the time. Like me and my wife kind of have an understanding, like we don't really take Valentine's Day too serious because we're married, and plus, like our anniversary would be the celebration of our love day. You know what I'm saying? So, like to me, like, I mean, I don't think Valentine's Day is too big of a deal for me as a married couple. Like I said, we celebrate. Because the thing is, you got to look at it. I got to remember Mother's Day. I got to remember birthday. I got to remember anniversary. So I mean, we take care of it with that. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, man.
But I'm anti flowers. I think the flowers are just way out. No, I do. I think the flowers just a waste. It's a big scam. To me, flowers at death and Valentine's Day are just a scam. It's just not really worth it. You know, now some people get into it. They like it. To me, there's really no justification for the day other than just marketing for money. That's what it is. So this is my stance on it. Getting somebody something for Valentine's Day does not prove that you love them more. And not getting something does not prove that, some people want to compensate. I think it's one of those things that people feel pressure to do because everybody's doing it. You can't be in a relationship with a woman and then not get her something for Valentine's Day because, like Dee just said, with the water cooler, it does look kind of foul. You know what I mean? But to me, that's just really window dressing as opposed to the person you really care about. You know, there's some people buy a bunch of stuff, but I mean, what is that really saying?
Hey, so let me ask you guys a question. But I don't want to cut you off, Derek. We're going to definitely get to you. I want to ask you guys a question. If you meet a girl in January and Valentine's Day is the next month, and y'all just started dating on and off, is she worthy of a Valentine's Day present?
No. Definitely, you got to get a
Valentine's Day present.
Yeah, definitely, you have to.
Well,
it has to be an acknowledgement of Valentine's Day. You don't just roll over it.
I'm under the impression that Valentine's Day is for somebody that you are involved with. I just started dating you. We haven't kind of established that we are involved. So, I mean, if we're just dating, like, I mean, should I get somebody a Valentine's Day?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So in your hypothetical, you're dating her. All right, so let's say you met.
I said I just started seeing her. You met her in January.
Right?
Yeah.
And you hang out with her weekly, right?
Sometimes some weeks no.
Okay, so now what do you do on Valentine's Day for that February? What do you do? 6 weeks into the friendship.
Whatever I would normally be doing. Whatever.
Oh, you don't even call her on Valentine's Day?
No, if I'm going to call, if that's the day I'm calling her, I call her and check on her. But the thing is, see, this is the thing about Valentine's Day. I think Valentine's Day is a slippery slope because I never had this conversation with my wife. if you go out with somebody on Valentine's Day or acknowledge Valentine's Day, I think it gives them the impression that you are exclusively involved with them. That's just my opinion.
No, it does. It does. But here's the thing. The question that you need to be asking. The question you need to be asking is how important that person is to you. Because here's my deal. Valentine's Day is not only for the person that you're dating. It's for your, people in your life that you love. Don't you love your family? Don't you love your mother? You know what I'm saying? Don't you love other people? So here's the thing. If I just been dating somebody for the last month or whatever,
that's a different type of love, though.
But it's still Valentine's Day, bro. So here's the thing. So if you're just if you're just dating somebody for the first month, you shouldn't feel any obligation to go out and instantly spend Valentine's Day if that's not real for you. You know what I'm saying now? Right. If you're just dating, then it's not a real serious. You're probably dating other, you playing field or you playing around.
Correct. It puts you in a bad position. It's a slippery slope. Because
I get that.
Listen, if it becomes an issue ahead of time, what you can do is you say, listen, and you speak. If it comes up a conversation, Valentine's Day, say, listen, I spend Valentine's Day with my family, with my mother, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. If you feel like it's going to be an issue, y'all always spend Valentine's Day with my mother right now. You know what I mean? And just my family.
If you tell a woman you spend Valentine's Day with your mother, she's cutting you off. Secondly,
listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm saying. Like, you could say your mom, you could say your family, you could say whoever. You got kids, you could say your kids, you could say whatever. But the important thing is that you acknowledge that the fact that it's Valentine's Day and chances are she feel the same way you feel. You know what I mean?
All right, can I ask you a hypothetical question? If you was doing the podcast with some guys and they was hypothetically fronting because their wives was watching, would you tell them? I'm just saying.
The thing is, I kind of some of the things that shout out to my pops right there.
He's actually in a relationship. All right.
But the thing is, that's a very wise man right there. But the thing is, like I said, it's a slippery slope. Like if you just started seeing somebody, and I'm going to say, I don't know 100% agree with Derek. I do believe that it is for the romantic. It's a love day and all that stuff. But like I said, if you acknowledge that you're spending Valentine's Day with somebody and you guys are not exclusive, I think it sends a bad message to the woman because now she feels that this relationship is very serious and you may not feel that way. So I agree with you. I agree. Valentine's Day with people that you're
I've never had that problem.
But you got to acknowledge it though. All right, let me ask you this question, not to get off track. First time you go out, do you pay?
The first time when I go out with somebody, I pay.
Absolutely. But I'm saying, you just see, y'all. That's a contradiction, though.
That's not a contradiction.
All right, why do you pay? Why do you pay?
No, we're going out. You trying to fill them out. When you Valentine's Day, it's like you trying to I care for you, I love you. That's why you're giving Walgreens chocolates.
You gotta give something. No, you gotta do something.
That's it. No. Listen, I ain't doing that. Listen, to me, over 20. One thing what 2020 taught me was to love everybody every day and appreciate them, give them gifts all the time. I don't need that one day to specialize to give them a gift in the commercial part of it. Nah, fuck that bullshit. I'm not with that, man. So I give gifts on random days, and I'd rather give you a Valentine's Day on the 13th.
So check this out. So you just meet the woman in January.
Tragic Day's the 15th. That's the 15th.
Oh, that's true.
Monday's lit. Mondays is lit.
You just meet the woman in January. You've been hanging out with her. Valentine's Day comes that year. You don't even call necessarily. You don't even acknowledge it necessarily.
No, I was asleep.
Have y'all heard this expression? Congratulations. You played yourself. The people that the woman has just been raving to her girlfriends like, yo, I just met this new guy, this, that, and the third. And this is the first benchmark.
That's
this is the first benchmark.
That's her. That's
her fault. Listen, everyone I
don't even do the single rose.
Kelvin, everyone I've dated, I've always told I do not do Valentine's Day.
And I respect that because that's like.
And I'm agree with D. It's not that I don't do Valentine's Day. I'm only doing Valentine's Day for somebody that I'm seeing exclusively, and that's the bottom line. I'm not going to make you think that you're my main thing.
Honest, man. The important thing is to be honest, bro. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So listen, man. Since we're talking about that, man, anybody had any worst dates ever? And I got a zillion of them.
Oh yeah, I had worst dates.
Yeah, I think everybody's had
not too many. I had. Yeah.
Who want to go first?
I'm gonna tell you, I had a pretty bad one. I'm thinking about it right now. I had a bad one.
Remember, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, this was a long time ago. This was a long time ago. Yeah, man. I don't know. I should have known something was up, man. You know, from the beginning, just how we met. Like, she just popped out on me on the bus, was like, yeah, I saw you looking at me. I didn't know who she was. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, I saw you looking at me before, and we were talking, and I thought we saw each other from across the. I'm like, all right, but she was cute, so, and I was 20-something, so I was like, all right, well, you know, whatever. Anyway, we one thing leads to another. We decided we're gonna go out on a date. You know, she's a little cuckoo, I think, but you know, at this point, you know, you're 20-something, you're just trying to see what's up. I go out and I met up with my homeboy, man, and we went to City Island, matter of fact. Remember City Island? That's where you go, man. Back in the days, we went and had some got some seafood and everything. Met my homeboy and his girl, man, for dinner. You know what I mean? And the 51-year-old me, I wish I could tell 20-something-year-old me like what time it was, because you know because I would tell her she really had a hang up with, you know, she really had baby daddy issues. You know what I'm saying? That was the issue. So I went in, ordered we went to the dinner. She ordered the most expensive thing on there, like a big lobster. You know what I'm saying? Ate with her hands. You know what I'm saying? Damn, man. I only ate half of it. You know what I'm saying? And that part she ate with her hands like a damn. Yo, and I'm like, and then belched up the rest, like you know what I'm saying? My man and his woman is sitting there looking at her like, yo, my man, did he just bring the Snapdragon, man, to the thing? I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? It was the worst thing, and I was like, yo, I'm just looking at her like, we just like, okay, she was the most uncouth thing in the world, you know. And then later on, maybe a couple weeks later or whatever, you know how you don't. I got a call like middle of the night, like, hey, it's me. I ain't gonna say her name, obviously, but hey, it's me, whatever. I'm like, that's the first time I ever hung up on a chick, man. You know what I mean? It was like, it was rude, man. And it was so crazy. So I think she was probably going over. She had a famous boyfriend or something who was supposed to father a child. So I figured out who it was, but obviously I'm not gonna say his name. But you know, but it was interesting. You know.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got one. Long time ago. Long time ago, I met this lady, young lady, and we exchanged phone numbers. And you know how before you get together, like you talk on the phone and stuff like that, and you haven't gone out yet, but you keep, you just kicking it on the phone or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you know, I always kind of noticed on every phone call, she would always tell me how good her kids were. She had these 2 young sons, right? So, you know, I really wasn't paying that much attention to it, but I did pick up on it that she kept talking about these 2 kids. So we kind of arranged times where we were going to meet up and go out. So then, you know, we set a time, a date. I go to her house to pick her up. She tells me to come upstairs. She's not ready. Her cousin is supposed to be watching her kids, right? So I go upstairs. The kids are there, and yo, no joke. These kids was the baddest kids I ever seen in my life. There's no doubt these kids had warrants. And I know as soon as I went to work, I was going to check them for some warrants. But, you know, dude, she told me to sit, you know, she was making them something to eat. She told me to sit in the living room and that, you know, turn on the TV until she finished making them something to eat and her cousin come to watch them. So, you know, she said the remote is on top of the TV. I go to the top of the TV and the remote is stuck to the TV from pancake syrup. And I knew it was pancake syrup because the pancake syrup was on top of the TV. You know how you got a nasty pancake syrup with all the drippings down the side because nobody wipes it off? So now I pick up the remote. I got pancake syrup on my hand. I turn the TV on and, you know, I put it back down or whatever. And yo, the kids start jumping on the couch while I'm sitting in the living room. So now, you know, you had to try to strike up. You try to start small talk with the kids, like, yo, how y'all doing? Like, you know, what's your name or whatever. And one of the sons said, my name is Boogie. I said, that's not your name. He goes, no, my name is Boogie. And I said, no, what's your real name? And then I hear her yell from the kitchen, tell him, man, your real name. What's wrong with you? That's not your name. He goes, no, my name. And I mean, he going back and forth with his mom, telling her, no, my name Boogie. So then, you know, time goes by, she feeds them, they sitting in the kitchen eating or whatever. So she tells me to come in her room and she wants me to help her pick something out for her to wear for us to go out. Kid, I'm not making this up. I sit on the bed and you know how when you sit on something wet and then all of a sudden it starts coming to your pants and you feel it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I sat in piss because the bed was wet.
Damn.
So then I jumped up and she said, what's the matter? I said, yo, I think my pants are wet. And she said, "Oh, I thought it was dry. I'm sorry." So I'm thinking it's piss from one of the little boys.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
it wasn't, but she said it wasn't piss. They had a leak. She had a leak in her apartment above the bed, and half the bed got wet. But pretty much she claimed that her cousin winds up calling us saying that, hey, she's not gonna come and watch the kids. So we hung out there, and then we hung in a room, and those kids kept banging on the door saying, "What you doing in there? What you doing in there?" And then I remember when I was leaving, one of the kids said to me, "Why you not spending the night like everybody else?"
That's classic.
Yeah,
That's classic.
that was my worst date. We
Oh,
never went out. And after that,
man.
I was like, but I started realizing, I said, maybe she don't go out because she can't get nobody to watch them badass little boys.
Nah. How about you, Kelvin? Kelvin, any bad dates for you, brother?
Yeah, but it wasn't the fault of the date. It was just racism that had made it a bad date. That's what it was. All right, so in 05, I bought this brand new Matador red Lexus, and it was an 06. So it was the first time I ever bought a car before the year came in. So, I was trying to get fly. So I'm going on this date, and I'm going out in Lindenhurst, Long Island to this seafood spot, right? So I'm coming back, and I see that there's like an accident somewhere ahead. And I'm going really, really slow. I see these cops outside, and they're kind of directing traffic. I'm going as slow as I can. The next minute, a cop on foot tells me to stop. So I stop. He's like, "Pull over." I'm like, "For what?" I'm like, "What are you pulling me over?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because the road is blocked off." I'm like, "How am I supposed to know that?" He's like, "Everybody else knew it. License and registration." Pulls me over on a date. So now when you get pulled over on a date, at the end of the day, while he's writing the ticket, there's no real date conversation you could have. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's messed up.
Yeah.
Dude came back and gave me a ticket for failing to yield to emergency vehicle. And he's like, "And I could have given you one for reckless driving." And so, needless to say, I felt like I was being targeted. It was foul. It killed the rest of the date. It messed me up. And so that was probably the second worst date story I had. I know it's not a lot to it, but all I'll just say is this: if you get pulled over on a date, the date ends at that moment because you trying to be a man, you trying to look whatever like that. Now you sitting there like you in detention, waiting for this dude to write a ticket while the date is there, and the date be looking at you like, "So this what you be doing?" Like you can't, So that was it. So that was probably the second worst date I had. The other one was when the girl, I didn't know, I thought it was her real hair, and it turned out the girl had the same hair I had, and I didn't know that. And that's what she was wrong. That was foul.
Oh man, yo, listen, I had quite a few worst dates, but the one, my story is always producer Jamie's always with me in most of these goddamn stories. So I just come up from school. We go to the first summer jam. I remember summer jam. Everybody used to go to summer jam, and it always rained. It was always on a Sunday, and it always fucking rained.
Yeah.
So Jamie and I, we get coming back from summer jam. We stuck in traffic. What you do? You start hollering at the girls in the cars, whatever. Boop de whoop. You start talking, right? So I met this chick from Harlem, and Jamie and I used to always go to Harlem and score big time. And my man and our man Tim. Harlem chicks love Queens dudes. I don't know what it is. They just love us, right? So I met the chick from Harlem. And we, first thing, you don't call the chick the next day. Everybody, we know that's the bro code. You don't call them the next day. You gotta wait a few days, right? You wait till like a Tuesday or Wednesday to hit them up. So we hit up, we play phone tag. She say, on Saturdays, I clean my house. So I figure, all right, she cleans. Sound like a clean chick. Like she gonna clean the house, put the kids down. Like, all right, okay, she got a kid early. I'm like, I'm only like 23, 24 years old, something like that. I said, okay, now I'm looking at the clock like, damn, she's supposed to do brunch pass. She's still cleaning this house. Now it's getting towards dinner time. I'm like, damn, I'm kind of hungry. Let me see what's shorty at. I hit her up, go up. She said, yo, come, let's go uptown. Let's go to, no, we went to Motown Cafe, I think it was. Remember that joint back in the day, the Motown Cafe?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Drove
in
to
Manhattan,
Harlem.
Right?
In Manhattan, yep.
Yeah.
Drove up to Harlem. I think I had a little Dodge Shadow or something like that. I can't remember what kind of car I had, right? Drove up to Harlem, picked shorty up. We go to Motown. We have a good time, whatever. Then she said, yo, like, what you doing? Like, oh, get a little drink. So we're going to come back to my crib. Come to Queens, Chicks from Harlem and the Bronx. Love Queens because we got trees, we got grass, Yeah, picnics in our yard, So we overcame.
Yeah.
We heard the speeches back in the 60s. So, so she come back to Queens, whenever. We go down, we about to have some adult relations, right? So I'm getting to the adult relation part. You try to do your smooth move, unsnap the bra from the back. Like, okay, I got that down. I got the bra, got the titties out. You know what I'm saying? Now I get down to the pants area. I unrelease the pants. Jesus Christ. The odor that came out.
Oh, shit.
Was a combination of pot liquor. Now, if you're from down south, it smells like pot liquor and chitlins.
So basically, you unleashed a pants full of tilapia.
Yes, boiled.
Wow, bad tilapia.
And in the sun, tilapia.
Oh,
and what I did, I had to roll the pants back up, right? Pull them back up, and I said, oh, I know you're having your period. She said, I have my period. I said, well, then, so then I said, oh, you know what? I forgot. I go to church on Sundays. And everybody know me. I don't fuck with church, right? So I go to church on Sundays. The devil's in me. I don't think we're rushing this. So now I have to rush. I had to roll the pants up, get her back to. Oh, somebody said man from the Bronx. Yeah, that's true, right? So I had to get her back to Harlem. Now I'm driving fast as hell. I throw the change. Remember back in the day, there was no easy.
It was the bucket. It was the bucket you threw it in. Yeah.
I think I missed that shit. Threw it. Boom. I'm on the sidewalk on 125th Street trying to rush it back in them damn buildings up there.
And it was no Uber back in the day.
Bro, no. She gave me the first version of heated seats. My seat was on fire from that thing.
Wow.
First of all, D, let me just say this. I'd like to thank all the sponsors that I just want to thank you. I appreciate it.
Yo, Kelvin, what's people's expectations with you being like, you're in the church, you're a reverend and everything? Like, what's the expectations of that, man?
Well, I expect they're gonna put me out now after the story, D. I just think
oh man.
No, let me stop. No, you know what it is. Dating as a Christian man or in the ministry is different. It's really, really different because I think you live kind of in this society, and there's some societal norms that are okay that may not be as far as the church is concerned. So, premarital sex and there's just certain things that you pretty much are supposed to be excluded from, and so people look at you different. The expectation is different. So oftentimes I don't tell people what I do until I get to know them, because if you tell them first, then you don't really get to know them. So it becomes this game of posturing and things like that. And so that's the difficult part about it. For instance, I've been at Christian schools where they don't allow dancing. And then, if you date somebody, this is what I've seen. I've seen the people that want to be with somebody who's in ministry, and that's what they want. That's what they're aiming for. And sometimes people want that, but they don't actually want you. They want what you do without understanding who you are. I remember there was a one of the R&B singers back in the day. They was like, what type of woman do you want? He said, well, not the ones that come to my concert, because they'll think I'll be singing all day. You know what I mean? And so what I've always wanted in some capacity was kind of relief from it. Sometimes, like, I dated a woman who was in ministry, and it was terrible, because you get on the phone when she was talking about scripture for 2 hours, and you like, it's just like, do you watch sports? Do you whatever like that? So we're just always inundated with it. So it's very, very different. So one time I performed. No, I didn't perform a wedding. I was at a wedding, and the clergyman man, he did it. This pastor, he did the wedding, and afterwards the man is dancing with his wife during the couple's first dance, and I'm dancing with a lady I don't know, and she looks over. She's like, "Look at him. He a minister." And he's sitting there dancing. That don't make no sense. And I'm sitting there like, right? And I'm sitting there, a minister, and dancing with her, and she don't even know it. But those are the things that you deal with. So that's what it is. It's a little different. But as I've gotten older, remember, I started in ministry when I was 16 years old. So as I've gotten older, I understand, a little bit more. But that's why people believe in being equally yoked. Somebody should know what you do. You know what I mean? Because if not, it's going to be a challenge for them.
Yeah. All right.
Yo, Calvin, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
If I'm out of line, you stop me.
Well, we could have talked about this earlier, but
don't get nervous, Calvin.
You
see me grinning, you be like, "Yo, Roddy's gonna come."
I know, right?
Yo, all jokes aside, I'm not trying to be funny. Yo, do women in the church come on to you?
You know what? I've had experiences where women and yeah. I mean, people. I mean, it hasn't been like foul or out of order. Maybe. I've had 1 or 2 experiences where it was like it was a little out of order, but yeah, Because what happens is there's not a lot of it's not many men in church as it relates to women. And then you have a lot of dudes in church. This was one of the things I dealt with church early on. You had a lot of dudes in church that didn't even necessarily like women, so that was different. So
like Darnell in the choir.
When you say like women, what do you mean?
I hate that he just said Darnell in the choir because it was a dude named Darnell in the choir.
There's always a Darnell in the choir.
And so in other words, and I'm not trying to diss nobody. I'm just saying I'm not on the canary yellow blazers. The wall notwithstanding, I'm not home yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on no glitter and rhinestone suits and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want the Temptations or doing Billie Jean or something like that, you don't really need to own that stuff. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think some women have just like, hey, you're involved in ministry. I'm trying to be with someone who's at least a Christian, so this should be, conceivably the place to find that. So I've had women that. Now the problem is this. When people over spiritualize things, that's what everybody has to be careful of. When someone comes up to you and say, God said that you're my husband. And all those different things like that. And I've had that experience before.
Yeah. And I had that experience before too. Somebody told me that God led me, not to me, but to somebody else.
Yeah.
They led me to somebody else. I'm supposed to have their son. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you get things like that. So let me say this. And let me just say this. If you're interested in somebody, just be open and honest enough to say you're interested in somebody. Now,
we're human.
Let me say this. I truly can believe that the gentlemen, you guys that are married, I can believe that God brought this woman in your life, and I can believe that. I truly can believe that. What I'm saying is, don't try to use it as leverage to convince somebody. Because nobody had to do that. You and your wife came together, and it was going to come together. It was meant to be. But some people try to use it as leverage. Say, because I've seen people do stuff like that where they'll tell the person something. Well, listen, God said you're my husband, and I'm sitting there like, okay, but you go to the same barber I go to, and it just seems like
and God didn't tell you that. They just told her.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So what now? I just got to be a prisoner of the moment, and I got to come with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Yeah.
So real quick before, since we're gonna have the doctor come on a little bit, and it's something interesting that came up recently this week. That the Dallas Mavericks owner, what's his name again? What's the guy named on the Mavericks? Mark Cuban. Got a brain fart. Mark Cuban said he doesn't want to play has not played the national anthem at the home games, and people start getting an uproar about it. So anybody have thoughts? I got a few thoughts real quick before we go into the doctor.
I think he's very in touch with what he perceives to be the needs of his players and Black people, and so-called minorities in this country and the injustice in this country. I get it. That being said, we you play. I think you got to play the national anthem, man. You know what I'm saying? I think you just have to. I think just from a business standpoint, you know what I mean? You have to do that because it doesn't do you any good if people stop or you start creating controversy around a situation. I don't think it does any of the players any good. I don't think it does any of their families any good. And, them being the symbols that they are in our community, I don't think that helps.
Think about thing about that. If you win, they come no matter what. Because Marshawn Lynch has never stood up. Marshawn Lynch sits down and they work more, but he can score and they will win it in Seattle.
Yeah, so he's dope.
And he's dope. Yeah. The thing with that is like, and I noticed that when Mark Cuban said it also, in foreign countries, the players play for the country when they play nationally, right? They play for the country. That's when the only time you hear the national anthem. They don't play the national anthem through a regular ass game. It makes no sense to play the national anthem. You don't play it. You don't play it at dinner. You don't play it. You don't play it at church.
Right.
Half the guys that believe in that, like Rodney said earlier, fake ass
Patriots. Fake Patriots.
They getting beer. They're taking a piss. They're getting hot dogs. They're getting drunk. You know what I'm saying? Some people are on their phone. So to me, it's why do we even have to play it? It doesn't make sense. If you're not playing a game to represent to represent the country in the Olympics, it makes absolutely no sense to play the national anthem again.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but with the NFL, the NFL didn't really start playing the national anthem with the players on the field. I can't remember what year it was. And the only reason they started doing it was because money because the armed forces was paying for advertisement to the NFL. And then the thing with Colin Kaepernick came about and also painted him as being non-patriotic or whatever. And like I said, racism is non-patriotic, and that's what they did. They did that. They slandered this guy. Yeah. And I don't know. Last time I checked, him not standing for the national anthem, he's not in violation of the Constitution.
No, he's not at all.
No, he's not. So are you patriotic or is he patriotic? Which one is patriotic?
And you know what? It's a very good point. And not only that, the anthem used to be, before it was the Star Spangled Banner, it used to be America the Beautiful. That used to be. And I think at the end of the day, you cannot try to give something or assign value to something to somebody that doesn't feel it's inclusive of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, let's say because initially the NFL said this year they want to start game one with everybody singing the Black National Anthem. Now, you know that there's a large segment of the population that totally will not believe in that anthem.
They right? That.
Correct.
Right, exactly. So is it plausible to think the way you feel about it, we feel about this?
Correct.
And so that's you know what I'm saying?
Calvin, you got a valid point. And the thing is, I'm going to build off of that. It's like when I used to work for the police department, you had guys on the police department thought it was the greatest job ever. How could you have a problem with this job, this and that? Your journey is not the same as my journey on this job. Right. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, what I go through on this job is different from what you go through. Your skin is giving you privilege. I don't get the same privilege as you. So the thing is, you're right. You want me to respect what you respect when it's giving you a different outcome.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah. And the thing is, before we go to commercial, the Black National Anthem actually should be the national anthem, but the words are way better, and you don't have to take out any of the parts like they had to take out the national anthem Thursday. Mm-hmm. With that said, like, Jamie, can you bring us to our first commercial break with our sponsors, please?
Are we? Yo, I thought we had new sponsors. I thought we had Gorilla Glue. The new slogan, we trying to keep it tight.
Oh man, that girl's crazy. But listen, we got, like, we just talked about, like, what the racism and stuff like that, and it's basically systematic stuff like that was going on in the NFL. So we thought it would be great today to have our first. She's going to be the Jackie Robinson of Let's Chop It Up. Reason behind. She is the first Caucasian person we had on Let's Chop It Up. So with further ado, our sister, Dr. Hespeda. I hope I pronounced that right. If not, correct me, smack me silly. Jamie. Yeah, there we go. All right. What's up, sister? How you doing?
Hello.
How you doing? Hey,
It's great to be with you.
How you doing?
Good to
today?
have you. It's good to have you.
Two quick things. It's Hepzibah.
Hepzibah.
But
Okay.
all my students call me SP.
SP.
I have a hyphenated last name, so
SP. All right, I'm gonna make sure I say SP.
And two, the word Caucasian is
Uh-oh.
not at all politically correct.
All right.
We
It
learned
actually
something.
comes from this dude who thought that the women from the Caucasus regions of the mountains were particularly beautiful, so he started using the word Caucasian. So I actually prefer the word white if we're gonna.
All right,
Okay.
cool.
That's real.
That's real.
All
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's
A
what we.
little sidebar.
No,
Yeah,
that's no.
that's what we're here. We're here to learn. We're here
That's
to
what we're
teach
here to
each
learn.
other. Yeah,
As
we're here to teach each
as
other.
black people, we get it. Shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
listen,
we definitely
You know
get
what I'm
it.
saying?
We get it.
listen. My friend said female on what's that thing that clubhouse thing, and they ripped into him. So that was a whole nother conversation. So I'm learning every day.
Sex
So
and gender not the same.
So, Doctor, like some of the things like we talking about, like you heard us talking about with the NFL going on and stuff like that, and also what you witnessed at the Capitol and all these things that we have seen in certain rooms. Like you said, you might be in certain rooms that we're not in, like with white people. What are they saying if you're in those rooms, and what are their thoughts on how do you address them when they see somebody like yourself and they assume that you might be with them on the same mindset? What happens? What goes on in that?
Wow, that's a great question. To be totally honest, I'm not in a lot of those rooms. I think like most people who are critical thinkers and are here to fight for humanity, we're not talking to those people because we've cut them out of our lives for a reason, right? Like once we find out who you are, I trust that. If you tell me that's where you're at, we're done. With that said, as a professor, when I'm in the classroom, I have a whole different orientation, right? So like, if you're at the bar, you just meet somebody and they say something ridiculous, goodbye. I'm done. I'm not really going to try and engage with you. But in the classroom, I have an obligation to engage and to work with you and to help you get better, right? And get that information. And what I find is that most people who believe this nonsense, who have fallen in line with what the racial hierarchy has told them, they just lack the information. I mean, most folks who come, so I teach like an intro to race and ethnicity course, but that's what it's called. But really I say it's an intro to race and racism, right? Because race and ethnicity means nothing without racism, right? So what I tell students is, I start off with a lot of history, right? About enslavement, about genocide, about the theft of Mexican land, about the oppression of Chinese workers, about the internment of Japanese communities, all of the ways in which white people and whiteness have structured our society to only benefit white people. But when you're white, you aren't taught this, you aren't told this, you're just a fish in the water, right? You're just swimming in what you know. And our government and our society strategically keeps this information out of our schools, right? So many times college students come to me and they're like, SP, I don't understand. Why didn't I know this? Why wasn't I told? I feel differently. And I'm like, well, you weren't told because if people were told, I truly believe there would be a revolution tomorrow, right? But we're kept in the dark in order to keep it going.
Correct.
Go ahead.
So can I ask you a question, Doc? We've heard this word microaggressions before, all right? And for those who don't understand, what are microaggressions and how do they affect our awareness? I think I understand, but I'm just trying to understand a little bit better. Explain.
Yeah, absolutely. So microaggressions was coined by Pierce Chester, I think. But to refer to like the slight insults that he said that Black communities experienced, although all communities of color experience them, right? And also other oppressed communities experience them. So women, LGBTQ folks, etc. But they're the more insidious, daily, small, little remarks. Like that stuff that people often go, wait, is that what they meant, right? Was that them just being racist? It's almost more like Gerald Wing Sue wrote a wonderful book on microaggressions if people want to learn more about it. And Sue says that he feels in some ways they're almost cause more pain than an outright racist statement, because you're sitting there investing the psychic energy trying to figure out whether the comment really was racist, right? So for example, the other day, I just moved into a building, and a fancy, like bougie new gentrified building. I got the New York City housing lottery, so now I have.
Oh, okay.
Unheard of. So I'm in this bougie building now. It's very weird. I'm still trying to figure it out. But anyway, so my Black friend comes to visit me, and I'm like, hey, I come downstairs to the first floor to get him, and I'm like, hey, I gotta get a package out of the package room real quick. So he's standing by the elevators waiting for me to get the package. And while I'm in the package room, this other white dude walks up to him and is like, I'm sorry, do you need help? Or you need something? And so then I come out, right? And then he sees we're together and he's like, right? So that's a, really good example of like, he's going to say he didn't mean anything by it. Well, we all know what was meant by that, right? Like this implication that you don't belong is a microaggression.
Let me ask you a question. So Sister Jane Elliott and stuff like that. So how do, like, when you get like certain Black students in rooms, when they say, okay, I'm gonna take this class of racism, and then you're the teacher, like, oh shoot, what happens when that first interaction and those things? I know how I've seen things before with Jane Elliott. I just want to know how does it happen? What's your experiences with those? Yeah,
so I teach race and ethnicity. I teach race and housing. I teach African American communities. So a lot of my courses are centered on race and racism. And, after a while at a college, you build a reputation. And so students of color talk and they let each other know, like, hey, like, she's good, don't worry about it. But when you first get into a college, they don't know you. And of course, some people don't know you. I just address it on the first day, right? And I'm like, hey, probably not what you expected. So I'm a white person teaching a class about race and ethnicity. Let's talk about that. Let's address the elephant in the room, right? And so, what I tell them, my philosophy is, if this were a course about how it feels to experience racism, then obviously I couldn't teach it, right? There's no way. But can I teach you a class on the sociological structures that maintain the racial hierarchy, that continue to keep the systemic racism alive? That is information I can facilitate and help us collaboratively learn about, right? And then it's a process of continuously trying to do the right thing, And so I will tell you, white students say stuff in my classroom, that they've probably gotten away with in other spaces. And that does not fly in my classroom. And I will call them out on it, and I'll say, let's have a conversation about what you just said. Nothing again, it's not personal, but we need to have a conversation about it. And, they get upset, but then they realize that, like, we're all here to learn, and if you say something that's effed up, I'm gonna call you on it.
Professor, you can curse on the show. You can curse on the show.
All right.
Yeah. Curse and keep your teeth white. Curse and keep your teeth white. All right. Go ahead.
Professor, chop this up for me if you can. I'm hearing a lot about the expression allyship, especially as it relates to corporations. Could you expound a little bit on that?
Yeah. Well, I hate the word allyship. Let's get that out there. Allyship, I think at the beginning, it was like good intentions, and I understand why it came about, but it's gotten co-opted. And like you said, businesses have bought into it. So, I'm going to put a Black Lives Matter sign up here. I'm an ally. And now, like, I've done it all. I'm good. and I don't have to do anything else. You know, I've worn my T-shirt, you know, or I've put up my sign, and it's wretched. And so many activists, including myself, we've tried to move the language from ally to accomplice, because as an accomplice, that means that you are invested. That when somebody says something, you're gonna speak up. When your comrades call you to action, you're gonna show up and you're gonna listen. You're gonna say, how can I help? Not how can I lead, right? But how can I help? What do you have going on, and how can I contribute and help be effective in this fight, right? An accomplice means action. And, you know, I see this a lot in meetings. So, you know, people, so like an administrator and somebody in power, right, will say something fucked up at a meeting, right?
You learn quick. We do. You come right in.
I'm gonna get drop the F-bombs. Doctor, drop the F-bombs.
Drop them shit.
Drop them shit.
Yeah, you want, let's chop it up.
Classroom too. It's just,
we all adults here. We all adults.
But you know, an administrator says something fucked up in a meeting, and you leave, and then, you know, a white person will whisper, "Oh, that was messed up." Da, da, da. Well, then why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you? You can't say something after the fact and then pretend like you're with it. No, you need to be out there. You need to be vocal. And, you know, my rule of thumb, my saying is, you should not say the phrase rule of thumb, by the way. That harkens back to domestic abuse. You know, if the people in power like me, then I'm probably doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I used to notice that when I used to work for the police department. There were certain people where, you know, they were skin folk, but they wasn't kinfolk. Where if they were too good in with the higher anarchy, then you know that they were selling you out. Right. But Doc, I want to ask you a question. I remember when I went to John Jay College and I took a course in about how certain neighborhoods, and I can't remember the course off the top of my head, it was a long time ago, how certain neighborhoods and communities, why are they that way? So I noticed, and I want to know, do you have the same problems with maybe white students? But I noticed when history was brought up by the professor, I noticed that a lot of the white students had a problem with the history lesson about it, and they were in deep denial about it. And I noticed too, that every week, there were certain students dropping out of the course. You know what I'm saying? Do you see that problem in your classes? And I want to finish this before you ask, because the thing is, and I think the reason that they don't want to accept history is because it's not what they were told. You know, this word is, they don't like history, they like his story. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Yeah. I rarely have people drop a class. Maybe if they're going to drop, they tend to drop the first day. After I've given them my little spiel, they're like, "Oh, this is not for me," you know, and they leave. But they do have a lot of questions. I work with a lot of primary material that they can't debate, right? Okay. I use direct quotes from the white people of that era, right? I show them journal excerpts. I use President Jefferson's speeches. I show them the pictures. And so when you use this information that is really fact, it becomes a little bit harder for them to just say this isn't real. Yeah. I will also say, of course, I have a very different perspective in teaching a race and ethnicity class because I'm white, right? So white people tend to be way more likely to listen to a white person teach them about racism, right? Because of the racism. So when they hear a professor of color say the same exact things that I do, right? They'll go, "Oh, well, she's biased."
Well, you're right, because the professor was Black in that course that I was taking. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Wow. So I got a question from Miss Sally. How can we truly dismantle racism in this country when we as Black people are exhausted and explaining our daily experiences? Oh, it's up on this side too. I'm sorry. Experiences, and it seems like Trump supporters are so far away from understanding it.
Yeah. So I'm a believer that we have to have a revolution, that we have to have a new constitution be written. Our constitution was written by white property owner, slave owners, patriarchal capitalist pieces of shit. And we're still working with this same document, trying to make it work, right? And putting band-aids after band-aid after band-aid after band-aid, right? And it's like the leaky pipe, and we just keep on trying to fix it. And then it breaks and it bursts. And I don't think we can effectively work with this government system that we have. Other countries have come to this realization, right? Like lots of other countries have gone, we need to press reset and start over. But the United States is, they're too proud of themselves to say, you know what, we need to press reset. We need to start over. That's my personal philosophy. I have a TEDx talk on what I call the white supremacy flower, which is basically like a flower is like an analogy for the history, right? So if the roots of our nation are like the roots of a flower, right? And then the stem grows from that and the flower blooms from that, and it's constantly drawing from this. Well, you're going to keep on getting the same manifestations of white supremacy because that is your foundation.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question. I want to know. I had a woman ask me, a white woman ask me this question. She said she had never heard the expression white privilege until she became an adult. And so she asked me, she said, Kelvin, I want you to explain to me from your own words what it's like being a Black person in America. And I thought it was a very interesting question, especially coming from her. I, in turn, would like to ask you, what is it like being a white woman in America? What does that feel, especially in your position?
Wow, that's a great question.
Did we lose it?
So I'm going to make this distinction between white as a racial identity and whiteness, which is the power invested in the racial identity of being white, right? So like, I am racialized as white in this society, and there's nothing I can do about that, right? I can't change that. I can't wish it away. I have white privilege, whether I wanted to not. I call it my white receipt, right? Because like, if I go into a store and I don't have my receipt, they don't question me, right? If I walk into a building, they don't question me. If I'm at the back of the store shopping, right, no one questions me. So I call it my white receipt.
And the police don't stop you.
Right. The police don't stop you, right? You go on, on and on and on with the number of daily, assumptions of innocence that you are given, right? The whiteness, though, I can try to the best of my ability to fight, right? So I can try and fight the power that is given to me by doing things like teaching a race and racism course, right? By trying to provide this knowledge, by being an activist, by writing, by, working with my comrades in the struggle to fight for equality.
So, Doc, let me ask you a question.
White doesn't mean you can just lay back and go, oh, that's the way it is. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have responsibility for it.
Since you're an educator, right? And you became the oversee the education system of the United States. The president said, "We call on you, Dr. SP." What would your first thing you would do in the public school system?
Whew. I mean, I think the first thing we would have to do is make it equal with resources. Like public school systems are vastly funded, so disparately. And obviously, things like safety and transportation, the presence of counselors versus the presence of policemen, right? All of this stuff. Like, we're not setting children up for success from the gate. And then, again, I'm an advocate of youth need to know the reality of the racial hierarchy early on, and people always say to me, oh, well, you can't talk about that. Kids are too young. They're too young to understand. Look, when I got my niece when she was 3, only 4, a book about plantation slavery. She lives in South Carolina. She's getting these messages all over the place, right? Already. Like she lives in a subdivision that has the word plantation in it, right? So they're already getting these messages. We have to be more responsible about getting them the right messages. And this was a book that was written for children, right? It's a picture book to help them understand. And so people have already figured out that there are ways to craft this message for each age group. And we need to do a better job of getting them that information.
Yeah. So now, where do we go from here? What do you think? What would be the next steps? Like, wake up Monday morning, refresh. Corporations, like recently, I went to the stores, mall, with my family yesterday, and they all the black this, black that. Now they got the little pictures and support black this. What do you do the first day? Like, how can we start over? What's the reset? What should people be telling in their households to their children, to their loved ones? What would the conversations start with? How can we change?
I mean, like on an individual level.
Individual level, like how can we start? Like movements and stuff start with two people. It goes to starts in then a basement, then a block. How do we get this message? Like we have to change. What would be the messaging to get people to get on board with like we're coming to a browner America for one thing soon, in our lifetime, God willing. How would we tell them like it's going to be okay that it's changing a little bit?
So this is difficult for white people to hear, right? I mean, a lot of the struggle we are seeing from white people is that they're afraid that they have to give up some power.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. And guess what? You do, right? Mm-hmm. So I always use this example, right? So like, here are the people up at the top, yeah? Mm-hmm. And they say to the people at the bottom, just work harder, right?
Yeah. Pull up your bootstraps.
And come on up, right? Exactly, right? Grab yourself your bootstraps and come on up and join us. And if you join us, we'll treat you equally. Just get up here, right? But that's impossible. The pie is only so big. The people up here have way, way, way too many resources and opportunities. Yeah. Right. What needs to happen for these people to come up is for these people to come down.
Correct.
It needs to happen. And we need to start saying to white people, you need to be ready to be okay with redistribution of resources and opportunities. Because that is what is fair and good for all of humanity. Yeah. It is good for all of us. Right?
Yeah, I think one of white people's biggest fear is losing wealth and losing power. That's definitely their worst fear, and that's why they will never give into it.
That's average person's worst fear. Yeah. You gotta feel. You know what I mean? You gotta feel. You have to. They're too invested.
And then they have they also have a mindset that they feel like. We're where we're at because we choose to be. They don't understand that there's a lot of things that were implemented to put us in a certain place.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And what they don't understand is that they are dehumanizing themselves by not loving all of humanity.
Correct.
And all white people need to work on their own humanity so that we can all be in a good, better place. And really, like that sounds. That's it at the end of it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But why do you think they're scared, like the history books and stuff like that? You say you start with white authors and historians. Why do you think they're scared to look at that stuff and hold that mirror to themselves? Because they always tell everybody else, look at y'all, do this, do that. But they never want to hold the mirror to themselves. Why do you think they're so scared of that?
Because you have to face...
you have to face some ugly stuff.
Yeah, right.
You have to face some ugly stuff that their ancestors have done in history, and they don't want to face that.
Yeah,
and that continues to be done every day in the name of whiteness, in the name of maintaining this racial hierarchy. They would just rather turn the other way than confront the truth, because the truth is a violent, painful truth.
And can we start with reparations for the first conversation? Can that happen eventually?
Can we get reparations?
Can we get reparations? Can we get reparations?
Right. Absolutely. That should have happened. How many hundreds of years ago? Yeah. And it's that's yet another violence that has not happened yet.
Yeah. So, Doctor, I know before we go, I know you have a book out. Can you tell us more about your book real quick?
Yes, thank you so very much. So, yeah, came out a few months ago. It's my third book. It's actually, you were asking about microaggressions. That's one of the chapters in the book. It's 13 different ways of understanding racism. So everything from microaggressions and implicit bias to white supremacy, white privilege, intersectionality, all of these, right? All of these terms that are used more frequently today, but that folks often just don't understand. And so you end up trying to like Google everything or wiki everything or try and find the best blog, and you don't know like what's good information. And so I worked really hard to put together a very accessible book that's almost like a handbook. And so you could read each chapter independent or read the whole book. You know, there's discussion questions, there's definitions of key concepts that people often are asking for. So,
and so how can the people find you, and where can they find the book?
Yep, so you can find me at my website down there at the bottom, and the Twitter handle. The book is also now available on bookshop.org, which I'm gonna give a shout out to. They support independent bookstores, including Black-owned bookstores. So if you haven't gone there yet, I suggest it because that's a really great place to support our community bookstores.
All right. Anything else you want? Yes. Anything else you want to promote before we go?
All right. And one more thing, support Ella Baker Day. It's a campaign to make a holiday in honor of Ella Baker, one of our greatest activists of all time, and honor the community organizing of women of color. Support EllaBakerDay.com. Actually, y'all had Donna Hilton on the show. She was a past Ella Baker Day speaker.
Mm-hmm. That's my homegirl. That's my fan. That's my girl right there.
Yeah, so I was excited y'all had her on, and Ella Baker Day is coming up in April. We have Dr. Patricia Parker this year. It's a free event. She wrote a great book that just came out on the activism of Ella Baker. So yeah, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Damian Tillman for our buddy and friend for putting
that's our boy. DT. So thank you so much, sister. We love you. We appreciate you. Keep doing the good work. Thank you for being in the struggle and the fight with us, man. And keep on educating people. That's the thing. We need more people like yourself to keep educating on the front lines and changing well, they say they're young, they in college. Their brains are still developing. So thank you so much for all the work that you do. Thank you
so much for having me today. I really
Doc, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure.
And I'm gonna get we're gonna get your shirt size, you and Damien. So we gotta make sure you get shirts.
All right, wonderful. Happy Valentine's Day.
Ah, Doc, there you go.
I tell you.
All right. Look at these, Doc. All right. Wow, that's good.
Robinson did well, man. I looked at
Robinson. Let's chop it up right there.
Yeah.
You know, educating us all and everything. That was dope. That was real dope, man.
Yeah, that was good. That was real good.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I hope even the natives saw that, you know.
Yeah.
Listen, the natives are something else, man. I remember back in the day, the natives almost killed your boy one time, man. So it was something crazy, man.
Oh, man.
And the shoes about South Carolina. I was down in South Carolina. This the first. Now listen, I grew up in South Jamaica. The crack era. Never been shot at. Never been almost approached. None of that crazy stuff.
I've been shot at before.
No, that's my first time being shot at. So that's another story. But
long time ago.
Long time. But South Carolina is crazy. So we had this club called Fame back in the day. Anybody went to Columbia, with the school at Benedict College and USC and all that stuff like that, Allen University. It was a club called Fame in South Carolina, man. And it was a hood club, bro. It was on a dead end street on this place called Two Notch Road. And
I know what Two Notch is.
You know what I'm saying? Two Notch.
Is it at the end? It's at the end of Two Notch where it's really hood down there at the end.
It's like in the middle where the prostitutes are kind of fading out.
Oh, say no more. You just said prostitutes.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. Yeah.
So right. So this is the 90s, right? And, you know, and all of us that went like, when you went away to college, you know, they hate the locals, and you saw school days. The locals hate college cats and New York cats and all this other stuff, and we could be loud, right? So we go to this club named Fame. We try and dance with the locals or whatever, and we come in there a little crude up. We know they didn't like us and everything. And I was always a bigger guy, but I wasn't in there starting trouble. I'm just trying to get me, trying to have me some adult fun. And my man Rick, he ain't my man, but he hung out with us. He's from Charleston. And Rick is about black as me and Kelvin Shirts. I mean, I ain't know, but this motherfucker, chocolate. He 100% pure African,
Okay.
right? So, but he could box real well, right?
Okay.
So we dancing, and there's something, you know, you dance on the dance floor and you bump somebody, and you know how back in the day was, how heads went.
Yeah.
And Rick got into this guy, this little dude. You know, little dudes always a little lick on him, he get all crazy, and when I get loud, little Napoleon complex. Rick gets into it. He hits the dude. Boom! Knocks him out with a one-hitter quitter. The dude falls at my feet. For some reason, it seemed like the music just stopped right at the perfect time. And somebody yelled, "They knocked out Peanut."
Ooh,
and the whole crowd looked like Big as Rodney jumped up. Everybody was Big as Rod. Like, who knocked out fucking Peanut? So Peanut's laying at my floor. Like with me, I'm like, I didn't knock out Peanut. He did it, but they didn't care. So they started chasing us through the club. Now it was a two-way door club. Like you got to go through two doors to get out the club. My big ass running. I just duck behind the door. The door closed. I hold the door like this. Everybody comes to the club. Fast me, run outside. Remember, this club is on a dead end street in the parking lot. So all my boys, I had a car. This was my freshman year. I had a Hyundai Excel. For those who know, the car that Rodney King got his ass beat, that's the car I had. 4-cylinder, had no radio in that joint, no air conditioning.
One way in, one way out.
One way out. I jump in the car to get in the car. I'm so nervous. My man hiding under the car. The man named Tyson hides under the car. He jumped in the car. I jump back out the car and start running. And he started yelling, yo, D, it's me. It's Tyson. So I jump back in the car. My man Bobby Burris, Tim getting there, Gabby. We all get in the car 5 deep in a Hyundai Excel. We had to go up. That Fame is on a hill on a dead end. So we had to go up the hill in the Hyundai Excel to get past the guys. And next thing I know, the guys look and we try to go. I had a gold Hyundai Excel. I'm trying to give it all the gas I can. And they go, there they go right there. They start shooting at me. Bang, bang, bang. I mean, a whole bunch of shots. I was like Pulp Fiction. I thought we were all dead. We drive. I said, I don't think I saw. Check. We get out. We drive up 2 Notch Road by the prostitutes. We got to go by the prostitutes. These prostitutes are wild. Remember those prostitutes back then, Rod? They kept razors in their wig and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Them some different kind of prostitutes. And them prostitutes are she-hims.
Mm.
So, yeah, they got the tuck. So I'm just let's tell you, there's some different kind of prostitutes. There's different kind of prostitutes on 2 Notch Road. We go, she-he's, bro. Yeah. We didn't even get a scratch on it. This is why to say this. Hood dudes do not know how to shoot because I don't know how they miss us. The gold Hyundai Excel, no bullet holes in my car, and nobody got hit. Yeah. That's all I want to say about that. I had to bring it up a little comedy. We was going a little deep for a little comedy in it.
Man. Yeah. Hey, you have the best stories, man, because all of them start with trying to have fun at a party.
Always.
And they just don't go well.
They just don't go well. But them dudes are big as Rodney, brother. Them dudes are muscular. But they couldn't shoot. No. Derek, can you bring our next guest in? Right now, hold on. First of all, let me give. So the thing now in the world is everybody talking about stock market and stuff like that, right? We had Dwayne Taylor on there last week educating us about the stock market.
Yeah,
he was dope. That's my boy. This week, it's another thing out there, regular currency, but now we also have something called cryptocurrency. Yeah. Cryptocurrency is the new wave. You see like Elon Musk investing in cryptocurrency. I think Jay-Z is about to do something in Africa with cryptocurrency. Akon built the Akon city with cryptocurrency. And this is the new Apple cryptocurrency. And this is the new wave. I'm not saying wave. I'm not saying wave. I want to say like something that's going to be gone. But this is the new move where people can start changing their lifestyle, changing their whole like economic situation. So, Derek, with further ado, can you bring in our next guest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This next guest is really dope, man. I know him personally. This is my man. This is my brother. This is the myth. I mean, my brother. I mean, physical brother. You know what I mean? And he's like my go-to with regard to cryptocurrency, man. He's in the game. So I want to bring it in. This is my brother Jamel. He's a crypto barbarian. You know what I mean? And he's coming through to explain a little bit about cryptocurrency because we have some incredible conversations. So I want to bring him on. All right, Mel. Jamie, can we bring Mel in?
Peace, fellas.
Peace.
What's up, Jamel? How are you?
What's up, Jamel? How you doing, brother?
I'm well. Thanks for having me, man.
Do we call you Jamel or do we call you the Barbarian?
Oh, he's the
man. You can call me either one, whatever you're comfortable with.
Hey, my brother. First of all, welcome to the show. I just want to, from the beginning, a lot of these terms are not common to people. In some cases, they're just frightening. Could you just kind of like, compartmentalize the difference between, the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and all these different things, if you can kind of just simplify it for people that don't understand?
Okay, I'll start with the word crypto. I prefer digital assets because that's what they have evolved into. And if you think of them as a digital asset and not as something that sounds dangerous or nefarious, like a cryptocurrency, then you get a little closer to mainstream adoption, and still have the conversation about security. How to secure your digital assets, and to know that it's not something that's illegal. When you hear crypto and even Bitcoin, you think of maybe the Silk Highway back in the days of people doing all sorts of illegal things with. So Bitcoin is the tip of the spear that brought in the crypto wave. But it's not the only one now, and there are there are thousands of them now.
Yeah. Yo, bro, man, let me talk to you for a second. You and I have some incredible conversations, man, and I really want people to understand who you are a little bit, and how you got into cryptocurrency a little bit, man. Explain how you got into it, and because I know you've made a lot of money. We ain't gonna talk about how much money you made because the IRS is watching. You know what I mean? But
yeah, no, listen, taxes, man. I'm not dodging. My background. I'm retired military. I'm also a real estate agent, so I'm not ducking no taxes. I'm upfront and honest with what I do. Yeah, so yeah, I guess what got me into it honestly was I was trying to do something different with what I was doing with my life. We all have who we are as professionals. Then we have who we are, as men, or as the type of person that your friends know you to be. You guys know who you are. Then as a professional, you're okay. This is what it is. But your friends go, look at this guy over here trying to, they could rib you. So when I'm facing myself, sometimes I'm try to do different things. So professional me is facing the real me, I guess. And I had to admit that I was spending too much money on sneakers and marijuana, to be honest. So I'm like, listen, I'm spending all of this dough on kicks and trees, a good little chunk, maybe not as much as some, but probably much more than others. So what I told myself I was going to do was find something to do with the blessing. Like, obviously, bro, you got extra income, with you really being honest. And a lot of us do have extra income. If you could trick on chicks, if you can afford another bottle of Hennessy, if you rolling up 3/5s of trees every week, if you can afford 2 pair of sneakers every other month, then you can do this. So what I said I was going to do was change what I was doing with my money and change what I was doing with my thinking. And that allowed me to go from, there's different paradigms. There's a working paradigm. Then you can go up a level to becoming a business owner. Then there's another level from there, which is an investor, So I'm like, damn, well, okay, let's go there, And so that's what I did. And I used what at the time was spare change, not it was light, while I was doing it. But what it did was 2 things. Obviously, I ain't smoking so much damn trees. I'm doing a lot of research, and I got more time of clarity to do homework and stuff like that, So I started to, really get into doing the homework portion of it. And one thing led to another. And 6 little wins add up, you know, and then once you start to win a little, you could wrap your brain around winning a lot, you know, and then, you know, you go from investing a little to, you know, knowing what you're doing in order to invest a lot. It's not gambling anymore, you know?
Yeah, bro. I wish I would have listened. I wish I personally, and I'm gonna admit this. I wish I would have listened to you a little bit better, you know, back maybe about a year ago, you know, and I'll be sitting a little bit better, a little bit different, you know, because I ain't made no damn money in this crypto thing, man, and you done dropped some jewels on me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Yeah, because you know I'm pretty, you know, but I do have a little crypto in there, you know what I mean? I do okay, and I watch it a little bit. But for people who are just getting into crypto or who just have an interest in it, what's a good first step that they can take, you know?
Well, first
step, like we can get it or whatever, you know?
Is be careful. First thing you want to do is you want to be careful. You want to do your own homework. You want to take care of yourself. You know, remember, I'm not a professional. Anything I say is just for entertainment purposes and entertainment purposes only. But you know, once you are interested, you want to ask yourself, how much time do you have to dedicate to it, because there's no regulations yet. So that means nobody's holding your hand, nobody's looking out for you. So if you're not spending enough time doing due diligence, then you want to, number one, find the right platform for you. A lot of people start with Coinbase as a platform because it's easy to use, you know. It doesn't allow for a lot of other, you know, more advanced things like trading. It does. The fees are there, you know. So I would say once you want to get involved with, you want to find the right platform for you. You want to try and carve out what it is that you're trying to get accomplished. You know that this is not a get rich quick scheme. You know, it's investment. You want to change your mentality, work on your mentality first, and know that this is it operates in cycles. You know, understand at what point of the cycle we're in or you're in when you're trying to jump in. It's like double dutch. If you don't jump in right, you ain't gonna stay in between the ropes. You know, you got to jump in at the right moment, and you got to ride the wave, just like double dutch. You got to ride the wave. You know, them ropes is moving, so it's the same thing. It's a wave, you know. So once you recognize when is at what point of the cycle we're in right now, crypto's going crazy. Everybody's making this money. Anything, you could throw your money anywhere and make money because we're in a bull market now. You know, the key to it is to place your money in digital assets that have a functionality in 3 years from now. When the market dies, we go into a bear market and comes back up into the next bull market. So now is not the time to buy in. Now is the time to maybe do some homework, find out what platforms you want to be on. Do you want to trade? Do you want to set it and forget it? A lot of people call that hodling, holding on for dear life. You know, so do you want to hodl? You want to just buy and hold on to it and wait, what will be about 4 years now for the next bull cycle. You know, so you'll be a little aggravated if you bought now because you would watch your investment go down, only to rise up again. But you know, it's rough doing it like that. You know, but if you can change your mentality and understand that really you're accumulating now for the next bull cycle, then you'll be okay. You could dollar cost average in until the cycle bottoms. Then you start putting larger amounts of money in once you recognize that we're at a cycle low.
We got a quick question from the audience. Since digital assets aren't backed by any gold or paper, is there any way to turn digital assets into actual cash? And does the value translate one for one?
Let's break down the questions. Okay, it sounded like that was a couple of questions that all at once. So what was the first part of that question?
Since digital assets aren't backed by gold or paper. Like, so it's like, pause right there.
Yes, some are. Now there are digital assets backed by gold. I want to say there's a GSX coin that is backed by physical gold. There are different projects that are including gold, silver, and physical assets. Okay, so what was the second part of that?
Hold on a second. I gotta get back to the comment. Okay. Is there a way for to turn digital assets into actual cash?
Yes. That's when you take profits at your exchange, or if you're on Coinbase, for example. I use Coinbase. I use mostly Coinbase. I'm comfortable with talking about Coinbase. There are different exchanges like Binance US, Kraken, BitTrue, BitYard, and when you cash out is when you turn, your digital asset into cash. You turn the digital currency into fiat at the exchange. So yes, that's how you turn it into cash. You can take say you got $10,000 worth of Bitcoin on the exchange, you just hit sell, and you sell it. Most accounts have what you call know your customer.
Like when I talk to people about Bitcoin or whatever, like today, I think, or maybe Friday was like at $47,000, $46,000, whatever. So a lot of people assume that they're going to need that type of bread to basically buy into it. And I explain to people that that's not true. Right. So can you explain how people can buy into Bitcoin without having $47,000, $46,000?
Yeah, the digital currencies are divisible. It's part of what makes it superior currency to fiat, is the fact that Bitcoin is divisible down into what's called Satoshis. So you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. Bitcoins are broken down into 1 million Satoshis.
Brother, you're saying a lot of big words. What's a Satoshi?
Yeah, what's a Satoshi?
Sound like something at a Japanese restaurant.
Fiat, explain fiat as well if people don't know.
Okay, so a Bitcoin was created by this mythical creature. He might as well have been a unicorn for all we know. Bigfoot, let's say, right? His pseudonymical name is Satoshi Nakamoto. That's the person who invented the Bitcoin. Their true identity is unknown to this day. You take from that what you want. So a Bitcoin is divisible into 1 million sections. A whole Bitcoin has 1 million little sections called Satoshis. So you can buy 1 Satoshi, which is 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin. It'll probably cost you a penny or something like that, So you can buy $100 worth of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
You would just own X amount of Satoshi.
It's just basically a percentage of that 46 or that $47,000.
You don't have a whole Bitcoin. You can say you have whatever fractional number of Bitcoin
based on how much you put in.
If you want to sound like you balling, you could say, I got 100,000 Satoshi. You know what I'm saying? Now you balling now. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying you got 1/10 of a Bitcoin, so I got 100,000 Satoshi, son. So whatever floats your boat, but it's all the same thing.
Still trying to understand, like, I had a partner of mine. He had a warehouse and he was trying to get the machines to produce the Bitcoins. Do you have any information? Can you explain that? Because I was still trying to understand what he's saying. He's buying these machines and he's housing these machines to generate Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, that's what the Bitcoin algorithm uses electricity, or what they call proof of work. The work is done by electricity. And once the work is put in, a Bitcoin is mined. And is mined when all these computers spend all of this electricity to solve a math problem. And that's what the miners do. They provide computative power to solve the math problem. And they compete to try to solve the math problem. And if they solve the math problem, they win the hash. I believe that's what they call it. They win the hash and earn Bitcoin. Bitcoin hash is cut in half every 4 years or so, which makes it deflationary. So that means that all the miners could get together, but they no matter what they do, they can't mine as much Bitcoin as they did 4 years ago, no matter what. So it's deflationary. So at one point, at some point there won't be any more Bitcoin able to be mined. But by then, it'll be whatever year that is. So yeah, that's what it is. Bitcoin mining is the process of individuals like me or you in the beginning. Now, mining is done on a industrial level and becoming more and more centralized in China because electricity is cheap there, as well as Texas. This electricity is cheaper there also. And I hear Florida, Miami, the mayor of Miami came out and had a big statement about how he plans on making Miami very crypto friendly. So maybe they'll allow some sort of power subsidies to Bitcoin miners. But the power consumption of Bitcoin is what gives it its value. It's a proof of work system. And the work being done is being done by computers and Bitcoin miners, and they're exchanging electricity for value. There are better systems now that can do what Bitcoin set out to do, which was to be a payment system. But it's not working out that way for Bitcoin. It's kind of working out more as a store of value, like gold or silver.
So somebody asked the question. I've seen Bitcoin ATMs. How is that used?
Bitcoin ATM. Well, if you have a hard wallet, which is a string of numbers and strings that only you have, you can deposit money and receive cash out of a Bitcoin wallet, ATM rather, or you can exchange money, put it into a Bitcoin ATM and convert your cash into Bitcoin. It'll give you a little barcode receipt. You take that home and type that into your computer, and then you deposit that into your crypto wallet. Usually when you see those, will be used by people who carry their own keys. They possess their own keys. They take care of they custody their own crypto. They keep their own private keys, and they keep it offline on a crypto wallet. So they would deposit and exchange at the ATM to stay off the grid, because they don't want to deal with the exchanges, because the exchanges have to deal with banks in order to receive your money or offboard your money. And a lot of time people don't want to do that. So they deal with cash, and they deal with Bitcoin ATMs that way.
Okay. Well, so I know we talked a lot about Bitcoin. Is there any other cryptocurrency that's on the rise that we might look out for people like want to get buy the whole I guess we say whole share of it? Any other currency that you see might be coming up on the rise that may be affordable for the common man?
The one I really wish I could tell you about, you can't buy it right now. They're being sued by the SEC. The company is called Ripple, and they are facing an SEC lawsuit, fighting the SEC, telling them that they're selling a unregistered security. So the SEC stated that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities. So Ripple filed a Freedom of Information Act and wants to know, okay, well, what criteria did you use to determine they're not securities? Then if you're suing us and saying that we're a security, what did you use to determine that they're not? So the lawsuit is going back and forth. That lawsuit has the largest impact on the cryptocurrency environment out of anything. And depending on which way it goes, a lot of money will be wasted. Me personally, I have some money tied up in that one. So that's the one that I would say is a coin called XRP. You could if you really wanted to, you could get XRP. Other than that, I would probably say go with Ethereum. It's the number 2 coin by market cap. Is considered an altcoin. Also, everything that's not Bitcoin is considered an alt or an alternative coin. So between those two, then number 3, I would probably now go with a Cardano or a Polkadot. For different reasons. Those are going to be competitors to Ethereum, which are proof of stake coins. Now, remember we said Bitcoin was a proof of work coin, and it had to do work in order to create another Bitcoin. So proof of stake coins means that someone else has to put up their Ethereum in order for another one to be made. Which means that you have stake in the game and you gain the equivalent to interest for doing so. So those coins to me are really interesting, and they are programmable also. They get into what's called DeFi coins, or decentralized finance coins, and those are the newest wave. Bitcoin as proof of work is proved to be very expensive. The electricity that I'm telling you it burns is, it's a lot of electricity. Now, I want to say Bitcoin burns the amount of electricity that the country of Argentina would burn in 1 year, So now that they are moving to this global warming and more sustainable ways of doing things, I don't know about Bitcoin's days. Although I own a lot of Bitcoin, Satoshis. Let me say that for you think I'm balling, So yeah.
You don't want nobody robbing. You don't want the gunman.
Hey man, you don't want family calling up.
I got
Shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I got Satoshis, so don't get me wrong,
Yeah. Ethereum, I think Ethereum's at. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, but there are definitely better technologies. So if you were going to invest now, I would say invest in Ethereum, and get out of Ethereum by the end of the year and get into Cardano, because it does what Ethereum does, but it's a different thing. It's not proof of stake. It's a whole nother technology, which is even burns even less electricity. And that's the name of the game, is they're trying to get these technologies to be as efficient as possible and be as programmable as possible, so that the IRS don't have to figure out what you spending your money on. You don't have to file for taxes. Your money already knows what to do when you spend it. It goes right where it's, every portion goes where it's supposed to go without you having to file for nothing. Big Brother's watching. That's the end game of all this. But so, at the end of the day, it depends on what you're getting into the game for, what you're looking for. If down the road, if you want to set it and forget it, Bitcoin is your best bet. If you have wealth that you want to protect, turn your fiat into Bitcoin is smart. If you broke and you trying to get bread, altcoins are the way to go. You can buy $1,000 altcoin and that bad boy will 10x on you. Now you got $100,000 in a month, in 2 weeks, So the sky's the limit on that, and the type of personality that you need to be successful is almost like the type of person that believes in conspiracy theories, and you believe that there are coincidences, and sometimes things can't come together perfectly, to launch a project or a company, to outer space. And if you're good at connecting the dots and you're good at researching, then this could be the game for you, because it's a lot of opportunity to connect dots that ain't there, But if you can connect the dots, then that could give you a good lead on a great crypto that could 10x or 15x your money,
So, like, my thing is like, once the churches know how to get this Bitcoin, I think the Reverend will have a bigger Bentley.
Yeah, they accepted Bitcoin right now. You already know. They accepted it right now.
Now, Anybody have any questions?
No, the only thing I was going to say is I think on Friday, I think Ethereum was at like maybe $1,700, $1,800 a share, around that. So that's a lot less than Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's a lot less than Bitcoin. It is has a smaller market cap, so it takes a lot less money going into Ethereum to raise the price. So that's why I say, if you want to get money, invest in Ethereum, because if all of us decide to invest in that, it takes a lot less of us to move the price. That's kind of like the Wall Street bets kind of flow. That's basically what they did. They all got together, poured their money into a small cap stock, knowing that because it's not that much money in it to begin with, people putting money into it is going to raise the value of it. But something like Bitcoin, there's so much money in it now. You got to be Elon Musk to move the price of it. And even he couldn't really move the price of it. The news of what he did had more to do with moving the price than his actual purchase.
So, brother, any last thing you want to say? Anything you want to promote? How can people find you? Anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, they could holler at the Crypto Barbarian. They can holler at you guys if they want to get in touch with me. I would say, for our people to think outside the box, know that they are printing money out the wazoo, and there's no plan on stopping the printing press. The Federal Reserve is going to print and print. So when you start to see these big companies placing their bets on these technologies, then maybe we should be putting our little pennies next to their dollars, and positioning ourselves that way, and as a people recognize that this is a new asset class, and one of the newest asset classes in the past 100 years. I think the last asset class that popped up was the bond market. Stocks and bonds as an asset was the last asset class that was developed. So this is the newest thing to come out since stocks and bonds. And once you start to see these large companies get involved, that allows you to know that it ain't going away. And since it ain't going away, it's an opportunity for us to position ourselves in a way where we have some say-so over what's going on in this game moving forward, So you can reach out to your local legislator and find out what's their policy on taxes, because that's the main thing going on in the crypto game now. Like we alluded to early, you got to pay your taxes, but what are they taxing me as? Are they taxing me as do I have a stock? Do I have a security? Are they taxing me as a currency? Is it a capital gain? What is it? Should I hold on to my money until they figure it out? I ain't paying shit till y'all figure out what it is, So, those kind of things. And then trying to make sure that the tax structure is beneficial to our people is another thing. So reach out to, your local legislature, and find out what is their position on crypto and how they're going to make sure that they're not stepping on innovation, and they're making sure that everyone can continue to get into it. Because like I said, the one that I would really recommend you get into, the SEC shut it down for people in the United States. So if that coin goes to $10,000 a coin, how you going to feel? And you couldn't buy it, but people over here were buying it up, and now it's $10,000 a coin, and people in the United States couldn't get access to it. Although when you could, but like my brother told you, it's one of the coins he has. So like right now, if you wanted to buy back into that coin, now you can't
do it. The funny thing was, man, I listened to it and they were like, "Oh, you can't trade it no more on Coinbase." So what did I do? I said, "Well, it ain't gonna do me no good if I can't trade it. I would have hit it, sold it all, man. I wish I had."
Yeah, but that's that conspiracy portion of the program. You got to think, okay, well, they let you buy Dogecoin, they let you buy, or Wall Street Bets let you buy all the game stock you want. They ain't worried about protecting you from that. They ain't worried about that. Eventually, Robinhood shut that down, saying that they protecting you. But we realize now, looking at the news, the real reason they shut that down, right? So now with these cryptos, it's the same thing. Why did they now all of a sudden they care about the little guy? Nah, they shut you down because if everybody start to buy this one, it's gonna be a problem. You can't buy this one. You can buy all of the rest of the Bitcoin. They ain't worrying about you buying all that. But this one is not meant for you. It's meant for them. And so they shut it down so that you have to be a what do you call those kind of investors? Accredited investor. An accredited investor means you have a certain amount of money in the bank. You're a sophisticated investor. So this one crypto, the SEC wants to turn this one into the type of a crypto where you basically only going to be able to buy it through Fidelity, a broker, because it's a registered security and not a cryptocurrency. But Bitcoin is okay. Ethereum is fine. You could do, but this one, you can't buy it in the United States. So those are the kind of things when I say you gotta watch, and sometimes connect the dots. They're not looking out for you. So why is it that you can't buy this one? So you might want to keep an eye on it. And what is it about the company? The company is worth $10 billion, but it's private startup. Like, hold on, what kind of private startup company worth $10 billion? Mad people from the Treasury Department, from JP Morgan, from Bear Stearns is leaving their Wall Street jobs to come work for this little startup called Ripple. Like, damn, well, why are they doing all of that? The former OCC director is working for this little startup company. Damn, well, why are they doing all that? The SEC is suing this company, saying that they selling an unregistered. Damn, well, why are they doing all that? So sometimes when you add all of that up, you're like, okay, you might want to keep an eye on what's going on with that. And crypto, the industry in general, is that way. You want to try to keep your eye on the projects and the partnerships that each coin has going on. This way you'll know or have a good idea, what to put your money on.
Brother, listen, we want to thank you so much, man, for coming on tonight, man, educating us all. This is like I love it seeing it come from our brothers. Like, you look like one of us, brother. And that's the thing that we got to see more of us in there. Man. What I'm saying? Like, and that's the good thing. And like young people, and it's a good image that you have. That young people, like, you can be yourself, you can be authentic, you can be genuine, and be educated at the same doggone time. And
definitely do that. Yeah, definitely, yo. But make sure you do your research. And I saw a question that someone asked. So I'm gonna jump on that. Dogecoin was created to be a meme. You know what a meme is? It's just it's a picture. So Dogecoin is a picture of a dog. That's what it is. That's its functionality. It's functionally a picture of a dog, and it was created to be a joke. And the creator would admit that it's a joke, and it's being promoted now because that's what they want you to spend your money on. They would love for you to spend your money on Dogecoin because it's a dog meme with no functionality. They don't want you to spend your money on things with functionality, and these are the things that they're going to build the new financial future on. They're not going to let you buy. They don't want you to buy that. They want, the SEC is suing them, so that's no good for you. Don't do that. That's a SEC lawsuit. That's a bad company. But Dogecoin, buy that. Elon Musk said, go ahead and cop that. It has no functionality at all. That's what I would say about Dogecoin.
That's what's up, man. So, brother, are you on Instagram? No.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
They holler at you before they holler at me, And
I got you. We'll vet everyone. We'll vet everyone.
Yeah.
Listen, brother. Please. Thank you again, brother, for coming on, man. We love you, brother. Keep doing what you do, man, and securing the bag for your family, brother. We love you,
bag. Love
you, bro, man. And
have a good night, man.
That's what's up.
All right, brother. All right, peace.
Good night.
Hey, yo, man, I'm gonna tell you, it's a huge thing. I wish I would have listened to this. I wish I would have listened to my brother a little bit better back when. My pockets would be a lot better. You know what I mean? Mark Cuban himself just said, cryptocurrency was like what we have right now is at the beginning of the internet. You know what I mean? And the people who jump into it now, man, are going to be the winners later on. You know. So
if Derek, if you would have jumped in it, you would have bought more white old men to live at your house.
Exactly. But we joking, but real shit, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the beginning of last year, man, I saw all of this stuff that was, I seen things jump like 400, 500% in 1 year, man. It was crazy. Right? Yeah, man. Yeah. Well,
there's a lot of the analysts that are predicting that Bitcoin will hit $100,000 by the end of this year.
Probably will. Yeah, probably will.
Listen, guys, we had a great show tonight. We had Dr. SP on there tonight, breaking it down. I learned something new. I can't call white people Caucasians. I will use it if they call us that.
Yeah.
We had the barbarian breaking it down. Kelvin, Kelvin breaking it down today, how it's hard to date in the Christian world and everything. Kelvin, come over to my side. It's dark.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you, something that she said earlier, and this is what I have to say is really confusing. The world is changing too fast. And I mean, I don't know, like, you said somebody was criticized for calling somebody female, and then she's talking about under the thumb is derogatory to, like, I don't know if intention is a thing anymore. Everybody is offended by everything, and it's hard to keep up with. It's just like, it's like somebody goes and researches something from the past and figures out, let's see what we can come and just change and just disrupt, some traditions we do need to break. Like you were talking about the national anthem, but some things I'm like, wow, it's just every day. So Caucasian, nothing has the impact of the N-word, obviously. Nothing has that. You know what I mean? And I think what happens is sometimes people pick and choose when these things are beneficial and not. And that privilege is something that I don't think people want to waive. I mean, I wouldn't waive it if I had it. You know what I mean? But this world is so, the society seems is becoming more informed, but it seems like the toughness that we had is diminishing, if that makes any sense.
No, I see your point, Kelvin. I definitely agree with it. Like, we're getting too soft, in other words.
Yeah. Right. Like I told somebody the other day, Rod, I said, this era, if some kid falls and scrapes their knee on the cement, then there's a movement. Let's make all cement rubber. Let's the sidewalks should be rubber now. You know what I'm saying?
When I really realized, when I really realized that we was getting soft, I got kids and stuff, and you had some sports, like Little League and Pee Wee football, where they were giving trophies to people for losing. That you don't do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's not good. So then basically you're raising somebody to feel like they're always supposed to win, and it involves no hard work to win.
It's not realistic.
That's dangerous.
Yeah,
that's
it
dangerous.
is. That is.
We just went through a group of people who couldn't handle losing.
And they stormed the Capitol, man.
Right. There you go. So that's what it is. Sometimes your candidate loses. Sometimes in life you lose. And there's some things that you need to understand that you can get into that your parents or other people can't get you out of. You got to realize that there's repercussions to actions, and so those are the things. But I enjoyed the show, and I think what I enjoyed the most is the fact there's a lot of diversity on this show, and there's a lot of different angles on the show. You see the guests bring different nuances that are helpful, and some of it, like anything else, you take the meat and you spit out the bones. Exactly, and that's what it is. See where it applies to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't wait till next week we'll address this educational thing. The discrepancies of education and the miseducation in a lot of things. So, guys, brothers, listen, I love you guys, man. We had a great show tonight. Can't wait to see you all next week, man. Be safe and try to stay warm because it's supposed to be cold in NYC.
Yeah.
So love you guys
again tonight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but listen, if you can, you home, watch Judas and the Black Messiah.
I'm on that, man. I don't know if is that a Valentine's Day show though, man. Damn, man. This is
no, it's not a Valentine's Day.
No. Hey, they got black love in it.
All right, maybe I can justify it, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, brother. But now let's make our movie go. Let's bring it to the top, man. We need more movies like that. I want to see no more slave movies. We need more revolution movies. So
let's do it.
All right, brother, sister. Love you guys, man.
Love you too, man.
Peace.
All right, love you guys too, man. And we out.
Later, y'all.
Mammy, take us out.